The sky was on fire. A bright object tore through the clouds and crashed deep into the rocky valley below. Smoke rose into the air. Birds flew away in fear. Trees near the crash burned slowly, glowing red in the early evening light. A human explorer, named Callan, stood on a cliff nearby, staring down at the smoke. He had been searching the valley for minerals, but now he had found something else. He picked up his scanner. Life signs. 1. Weak. Without thinking, he grabbed his pack and rushed toward the crash. It took him 20 minutes to climb down. The ship was small, just a pod, not a full craft. Its sides were crushed, metal panels cracked open like an egg. Wires sparked. A quiet alarm beeped from inside. Callan pushed through the broken door and stepped in carefully, and then he froze. Someone was lying on the floor. Not human. She had smooth lavender skin and long silver hair. Her body was covered in deep cuts. A clear liquid, her blood, leaked slowly from her side. Her face was bruised and her breathing was shallow. She looked like she had been thrown across the pod during impact. She was beautiful, but broken and very, very close to death. Callan dropped to his knees and checked her pulse. It was slow, too slow. He looked around and saw a strange mask nearby, cracked in half. She must have removed it too late. "Hey," he whispered. "Can you hear me?" Her eyes fluttered open for just a second, glowing a soft blue. She looked at him and whispered one word in a broken voice. "Help." Then she passed out. Callan didn't wait. He picked her up gently. Her body was light, almost fragile, but her skin was hot, too hot, like she was burning up from the inside. He wrapped his jacket around her and carried her back through the rocks. The wind howled, and the sky darkened. Night was coming fast. He had to move quickly. By the time he reached his camp, she was barely breathing. He laid her down on a soft sleeping mat and turned on his portable heater. He wiped the blood from her face and began cleaning her wounds with warm water. Her skin glowed slightly where he touched it. He had never seen anything like it. As the fire crackled beside them, Callan sat and watched her. "Who are you?" he asked softly. "Why did you crash here?" She didn't answer. She couldn't, but her hand twitched in her sleep like she was dreaming, or remembering. Later that night, the wind outside grew louder. Callan wrapped another blanket around her. Suddenly, she gasped and sat up. "No!" He rushed to her side. "It's okay, you're safe." She looked around wildly, eyes wide with fear. Then her gaze locked on him. She tried to move away, but her body was too weak. Her breathing was fast. Her chest rose and fell quickly. She spoke in her language, sharp, musical words that he didn't understand. He raised his hands slowly. "I'm not your enemy." She looked at him, confused. He reached into his pack and pulled out a flask of water. She hesitated, then reached for it with shaking hands. She drank, and then whispered again, softer this time. "You are human?" He nodded. "Yes." She closed her eyes and let out a shaky breath. "My ship was attacked. By who?" But she didn't answer. She was already slipping back into sleep. Callan sat beside the fire, watching her sleep. He didn't know what had happened. He didn't know what kind of alien she was. He didn't even know her name. But he knew this. She had fallen from the stars, landed at his feet, and asked for help with her last breath. And now, for some reason even he couldn't explain, he couldn't leave her. Not tonight. Not ever. The fire burned low. Outside the tent, cold wind howled through the rocky valley. But inside, it was quiet. Too quiet. Callan sat near the edge of the sleeping mat, checking the alien woman's bandages again. Her breathing had steadied. The cuts on her arms were closing fast, glowing faintly where the skin touched the gauze. It wasn't human healing. It was something faster. Something alive. Her skin shimmered under the firelight, lavender with soft, glowing lines pulsing gently, like heartbeat signals just under the surface. Callan stared, half worried, half fascinated, but then she screamed, loud, sharp, raw. She sat up so fast it shocked him. Her eyes snapped open wide, pure glowing blue now, and her arms flung out as if pushing something away. "No, get away!" she shouted in her alien tongue. Callan jumped up. "Hey, it's okay, it's me." But she didn't see him. She thrashed, wildly, her body shaking, eyes unfocused. Her hand reached for something that wasn't there, maybe a weapon, maybe a memory. Then she lunged at him. He didn't strike her. He just caught her arms gently, holding her still. "Hey, stop. You're not in danger." Her hands pressed against his chest. He could feel the heat pouring from her skin. Her breathing was fast, shallow, panicked. Finally, she blinked. She looked at him, really looked, and froze. "You," she whispered. "You're not them." Callan let go, his voice low. "No, I found you. In the crash." Her shoulders dropped. She looked down and touched the bandages on her ribs. I remember pain," she said slowly, in broken English. "Explosion, fire, ship breaking. Then hands. You carried me?" "Yes." She touched her forehead. "You, human," he nodded. "And you?" She hesitated. Then, "Sarah. My name is Sarah." He smiled softly. "Sarah, I'm Callan." A long silence filled the tent. Sarah sat up slowly. She was weak but not helpless. Her long silver hair fell over her shoulders, tangled but beautiful. She looked around the small camp, simple gear, a half-burnt map, a worn-out solar charger. "You live here?" she asked. "Just traveling. I scout and explore." She blinked. "Why save me?" Callan shrugged. "Because you were dying." Her eyes locked onto his. "But you don't know me." "No," he said. "But I know pain. I've been alone out here before, too." Something in her face softened. Then she whispered, "Thank you." That night, after she drank some broth and rested, Callan stepped outside to give her space. He stood under the stars, watching them flicker far above. He wondered which one she came from, what kind of life she had, what kind of enemies could bring down someone like her. Behind him, he heard the tent flap move. She stood in the doorway, wrapped in his spare blanket. "I feel strange," she said. "Pain?" She shook her head. "No, inside." She placed her hand lightly on her stomach. Callan looked at her, confused. "You're hurt there?" "No," she said. "Something is changing." Her eyes narrowed slightly. "When you touched me, when you carried me, I felt heat. But not like fire. It was different." He frowned. "I didn't mean to." She shook her head quickly. "No, not bad. Just strange." She looked up at the stars. "My kind. We only react that way when we're close to death," Callan asked. "React how?" She looked into his eyes, voice low. "When the body is breaking, sometimes it tries to save itself. Through bonding, through life." He didn't understand, but he didn't need to, because the next thing she said changed everything. "I think I am carrying." Callan stared. "Carrying. What?" She placed her hand over her belly again. "I don't know how, but I feel it, a spark, a pulse. It's inside me." He stepped back, stunned. "Wait, you mean like a child?" Sarah nodded slowly. "But that's not possible," he said. We didn't. "I know," she said. "But my kind, sometimes the body chooses when it's ready, not the mind." Silence. Wind brushed past them. Sarah looked at him again. "I don't blame you. I don't fear it. But I need you to know. Something new is growing inside me." She paused. "And I think part of it is yours." The sky had just begun to lighten. Cold wind moved through the valley, soft and slow, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Inside the tent, Callan stared at the scanner. Again and again. Same result. The small screen showed a faint, but clear, pulse, not from Sarah's heart but from deep inside her body, a second life, small, steady, growing. He sat back, his hands in his hair. This wasn't normal, not human biology, not alien science. This was something different. Sarah sat a few feet away, her legs crossed, her palms resting lightly on her knees. She was quiet, her eyes closed. Glowing symbols moved slowly across her skin, shifting like starlight. She was meditating or maybe listening. When she opened her eyes, they were calm, but focused. You see it too? She asked. He nodded. Yes. It's real? Yes. I don't know how, but yes. There's something growing inside you. She smiled faintly. Not something. Someone. He blinked. How can you be so sure? She looked down at her stomach. I feel him. Or her. The spark is alive. My body is changing to protect it. He rubbed his face. This doesn't make sense. There was no contact. She tilted her head. Not in your way. But touch is different for my people. Energy moves through the skin. Connection triggers response. Callan stood and began to pace. This is impossible. She watched him silently. After a moment, she said, Your blood has strength. Your touch healed me. Your will carried me through death. He stopped. And that's enough to create life? In my species, she said softly. Life does not always begin with choice. Sometimes it begins with survival. He sat beside her, looking confused. So this child is part me? She nodded. It carries both of us. His voice was low. But how can that be? We're not the same, not even close. Sarah turned her head to look at him. Her glowing eyes softened. We were never meant to be the same, she said. But maybe we were meant to meet. Later that day, Sarah slept again. Her body needed more rest now. Her skin glowed warmer with each hour. She curled around her belly as if protecting it already. Callan stepped outside and stared at the sky. The stars were fading in the morning light. But questions filled his mind. What kind of child would be born from two worlds? Would the baby even survive? Would Sarah? And if others knew, and would they try to take her, or worse, take the child? He didn't have long to think, because a sound came from the cliff above, a sharp, high chirp, not natural. A signal. Callan grabbed his scope and looked up. His heart dropped. A ship. Small. Silver. Just barely visible, hidden behind clouds. It was. Scanning the valley, he ran back into the tent. Sarah. Wake up. She opened her eyes slowly, sensing his fear. What is it? Someone's found us. A ship, they're searching. She sat up fast. Is it marked? I couldn't tell. But it's not mine. It's not yours either, right? She shook her head, panic starting to show. They might be from my world. My people monitor escape pods if mine was tracked. Callan grabbed his gear. Then we have to move. She placed a hand on his arm. I can't go far. Not in this state. Then I'll carry you again. She blinked at him. You would still protect me. After what I told you? He didn't answer right away. Then he gently touched her hand. You're not just some injured stranger anymore, Sarah. His eyes dropped to her stomach. You're carrying my future. They packed what they could. Callan lifted her gently, carefully, the way he had the first night. But this time, it was different. He wasn't just helping her now. He was carrying his family. The ship in the sky moved closer. The scanner beeped again. Sarah's voice was soft against his neck as he carried her through the trees. They will try to stop this, Callan. They do not believe in mixed life. I do, he said. She looked at him, and her voice for the first time cracked. Then hold me, no matter what happens. He held her tighter and whispered, I will. The valley narrowed into a canyon. Tall cliffs rose on both sides, their shadows deep and cold. Birds didn't fly here, the air felt heavy, still. Kalen moved quickly, carrying Sarah in his arms, her head resting gently against his shoulder. Every few steps she groaned softly. Her body glowed brighter now, lines of light running through her skin like veins made of stars. She was burning, up not from fever, but from something inside. A transformation. The child. Whatever was growing in her womb, it was accelerating. They found a hollow under the rocks, hidden behind thick roots. Callan laid Sarah down on a pile of moss and placed his coat beneath her head. He checked the scanner again. The ship was still above, circling, but hadn't landed yet. "They haven't found us," he whispered. "Not yet," Sarah said weakly. Her voice was thin. Her eyes fluttered. "You need to rest," he said, opening his water pack. She took the canteen but didn't drink much. Her hands trembled. "I feel the change," she whispered. "It's happening fast." Callan sat beside her. "You said this wasn't normal for your kind. It isn't. My people, we carry life slowly, carefully. It takes many cycles. But this..." She placed a glowing hand over her stomach. "This is not slow. This is human fast." He stared at her belly. It wasn't swollen, but something had shifted. A warmth. A power, and it scared him. "Sarah," he asked gently, "what happens when the child is born?" She looked at him, silent. Then she said, "I don't know. No one ever allowed a child like this to be born." He stiffened. "What do you mean?" She turned her head away. "Hybrids are forbidden. My people believe mixing with outsiders weakens our blood. Any pregnancy like this is erased." Callan's voice hardened. "Erased?" "Terminated quietly before it grows." He stood up, fists tight. "That's not a law, that's murder." Sarah didn't defend it. She looked tired, sad. "It's what they were taught." Callan knelt beside her. "What about you? Do you believe it?" She looked into his eyes. "I believed them once. Until I met you." Silence again. Then Sarah whispered, "I should leave." Callan blinked. "What?" "I should leave this world, find a shuttle, run, maybe go where they can't find me." "No," he said. She sat up slowly. "If I stay here, I put you in danger. The child, too. What if they come with soldiers? What if they destroy this place?" "I don't care," he said. She stared at him. "You don't care if they come?" "I don't care about what they want," he said. "I care about you, about this child, about the choice we make." She breathed deeply. Her fingers curled into the moss. "I was ready to die before you found me. I was alone, hunted, broken. But now..." She looked down at her stomach again. "Now I feel something inside me. Not just life. Hope." Callan smiled softly. "Then stay with me. We'll protect this life together." She shook her head slowly. "It won't be easy." He laughed once, dry and low. "Nothing good ever is." That night, wind rattled the trees outside the cave. Inside, Sarah couldn't sleep. She sat beside Callan near the fire, both of them staring into the flames. "Do you miss your home?" she asked him. "Sometimes," he said. "But I left it, for a reason." "What reason?" He hesitated, then answered, "To find something worth staying for." She leaned against him gently. "I think you found it." A few hours later, her body began to shake. Glowing lines along her skin pulsed. Faster, her breathing grew heavy. "It's starting," she whispered. Callan helped her lie down, his heart racing. "But it's too early," he said. "It's only been a few days." She gripped his hand tight. "My body, it's changing because of your energy. Your presence makes it grow faster." He stared, unsure what to do. "Tell me what to do," he said. She looked up at him with glowing eyes. "Don't let go." The cave filled with soft white light. Her body arched. Not in pain, in power. This was not a normal birth, not human, not alien, something new. She cried out, but not from fear, from strength. Callan held her hand, and in that moment, something pulsed through him too. He felt the child, not just as a presence, but as a bond. Hours passed. The light faded slowly. Sarah lay quiet, her skin cooling, and in her arms, a tiny glowing infant, eyes shut, skin soft and silver lavender. A quiet heartbeat, and then a small cry, high, soft, full of life. Callan dropped to his knees, speechless. Sarah looked at him, tears in her eyes. Lives. Callan reached out and touched the child's hand. It curled around his finger, and suddenly he didn't feel afraid anymore. Outside, the scanner beeped again. The ship had landed. Someone was coming, but Callan didn't stand up to fight. He stood up to protect. His family was here now, and for them, he would never run. The baby slept in Sarah's arms. His skin glowed faint silver. Tiny breaths rose and fell from his small chest. His fingers curled naturally around hers. His heartbeat pulsed like a soft drum, but it echoed in both their bodies. Even Callan could feel it. He had never known this kind of peace before, and he had never known this kind of fear because now he had something to lose. The wind outside shifted. A low hum moved through the trees. Callan's eyes snapped to the scanner, still blinking red. The ship had landed, less than a kilometer away. No more hiding. They're close, he said. Sarah didn't look up. She kissed the baby's forehead gently. They've come to take him. Callan stepped outside the cave. The forest was too quiet. He placed motion sensors near the ridge, sharp rocks in the narrow pass. He coated vines with firegall, just in case. He wasn't a soldier, but he'd been a survivor too long to be unprepared. As he set a trap under a fallen log, Sarah joined him, still weak, still glowing, with the baby in a sling across her chest. I can help, she said. You should be resting. I'm not just a mother, she replied. I was a battle mender. I remember how to defend. Callan looked at her proud. Then let's make sure they never forget what we built. They didn't wait long. A blue beam lit the trees nearby. The ground shook softly. Then they heard it. Footsteps. Not one. Not two. Dozens. Armor clinking. Branches snapping. The jungle bent for them. Callan and Sarah stood at the cave entrance as the squad appeared through the trees. At the front was a woman, with hard violet skin and golden eyes. Her armor was cleaner than the others, her gaze sharp. Sarah whispered, High Enforcer Velesh, my clan's lawkeeper. Callan gripped his blade tighter. Velesh stepped forward. Sarah Elna of the Mirai bloodline. You have been found, Sarah replied calmly. I didn't hide. You disobeyed royal pairing, you fled, and now you carry a corrupted child. She lowered her voice. Surrender the boy, he will be dealt with painlessly. Callan stepped forward. The hell he will. Velesh looked at him like he was an insect. You are the human, the contaminant. I'm the father, Callan said, and I will not let you touch him. The guards aimed their weapons, but Callan didn't step back. He stood taller. Try me. Velesh paused, then said coldly, You bonded with her? Yes, you allowed a child. I didn't allow it, I welcomed it. Velesh turned to Sarah. You disappoint your bloodline. You would throw away everything for this creature? Sarah lifted her chin. He is more than any royal I've ever known. He gave his body to save mine. He gave his strength to protect our child. He is not the outsider. You are. The air grew tense. Then, Velesh raised her hand. Take the child. 3 guards rushed forward, but Callan was ready. He pulled a vine, and fire exploded behind the rocks. 1 guard screamed, rolling in sparks. The others stumbled back. Sarah lifted her hand. A pulse of energy burst from her palm, pushing 2 more away. The baby began to cry. But the sound wasn't normal. It was loud. It echoed through the canyon like a wave. Valesh covered her ears. "What is that?" The guard stepped back, stunned. Even the jungle seemed to shift. Callan moved between them and Sarah. "I won't say it again. You're not taking my son," Valesh hissed. "This is blasphemy." "No," Sarah said softly. "This is evolution." A sharp hum filled the air. The baby's cry had activated something in the forest. Trees lit up. The stone beneath them glowed faintly. The jungle had seen this child, and it accepted him. One guard dropped his weapon and stepped back. "He carries the mark," Valesh snarled. "He carries danger. He will break our traditions." "Then maybe they need to break," Callan said. Valesh raised her blade. "Last chance." Callan raised his. Sarah stepped beside him, holding the child tightly. "If you want our son," she said, "you'll have to go through both of us." And then, a voice echoed from above. "Enough." Everyone froze. From the trees floated down a glowing elder, robed in white, hovering gently on a soft disk of light. Her face was ancient, kind and powerful. "The forest has spoken," the elder said. Valesh bowed. "Elder Vina, this is a criminal matter." "No," the elder interrupted. "This is a turning point." She floated to the child and looked at him gently. "He is not a mistake." She looked at Sarah. "You are not exiled anymore." Then at Callan. "And you have shown us that even Deathworlders can love more deeply than we imagined." She turned to Valesh. "Withdraw." Valesh's jaw tightened, but she obeyed. The soldiers stepped back into the trees. The fight was over. Later that night, under the stars, Callan sat by the fire holding the baby in his arms. Sarah leaned into him, tired but smiling. "He looks like you," Callan said. "He glows like me," she replied. They laughed softly. Then Sarah whispered, "You didn't run. You fought for us." He looked at her, and then at their child, and simply said, "I chose us." The jungle was calm again, but only on the surface. Callan sat near the cave, sharpening his blade. His hands moved slow and steady, but his mind was racing. The elder's arrival had stopped the soldiers for now, but not forever. Sarah sat beside the fire, her arms around the baby, rocking him slowly. She didn't speak much. Her eyes stayed on the shadows in the trees, where guards had once stood, where others might return. The baby cooed, glowing faintly. "He doesn't know what's happening," Sarah whispered. "He doesn't need to," Callan said. "He just needs to stay safe." Sarah nodded, but her face was heavy with worry. The High Council won't accept the elder's words forever. Velesh won't stop. They'll come again, this time with more force. "Then we won't be here," Callan said. "I've been building something." She raised an eyebrow. "What?" He stood and motioned her to follow. They walked past the cliffs down a hidden slope wrapped in vines. At the base was a flat piece of metal, half buried in dirt. He kicked away moss and lifted it. A hatch. She stared. "This is a ship pod," she said. He grinned. "Parts of one. I've been collecting scraps for months since I landed here. I never had a reason to finish it." "And now?" she asked. He looked at her. "You and him. That's my reason." They worked all day. Callan attached power coils and rewired the engines. Sarah used her energy to restart dead circuits. Her hands glowed as she touched the frame, her alien biology syncing with the metal. The pod lit up like it was remembering itself. The baby slept inside the cave, wrapped in moss blankets, watched over by the forest's soft light. Night fell, and the sound came again. Engines, not theirs. Callan stood up straight. They're back. This time it wasn't a squad. It was an assault craft. Large, armored, landing hard. The trees bent with the blast. Fire rippled through the leaves. Birds scattered. From the ramp walked Valesh again, but now with full royal guard armor. No speeches, no warnings. Sarah backed away slowly. "She's not here to talk." Callan placed his hand on her back. "Get to the pod. Get the baby. I'll buy time. She turned. You can't fight all of them. I don't have to win, he said. Just give you a head start. She hesitated. He kissed her forehead. Go. Sarah ran. Callan stepped forward. Valesh raised her hand. He does not belong. Callan smirked. Neither do you. She rushed. He dodged left, slashed low, caught her leg. The others surrounded him, 5 on 1. Still he moved like a shadow, striking, ducking, rolling through mud and fire. His skin glowed faintly now, his bond with Sarah powering his body. One guard fell, another screamed, but then, a shot to the ribs. He dropped. Valesh stood over him, panting, blade at his throat. You were never meant to be part of this. Callan looked up at her, blood on his lips. That's what makes it special. Just as she raised her blade, a scream rang out. Sarah. From the trees behind, a beam of pure white energy shot into the sky. Valesh turned. A wave hit the ground, a shockwave from the baby's cry. Trees bent, stones cracked, armor shook. Guards dropped their weapons, eyes wide. The baby stood in Sarah's arms, glowing bright, his tiny body pulsing with energy no one had ever seen. Valesh fell to one knee. What is this? Sarah stepped forward, voice like thunder. He is our future, and you will not touch him. The elder arrived again, this time with witnesses, cloaked figures, recorders, council observers. Valesh stood, weak. He's unstable. He's a threat. The elder raised her hand. He is powerful, that is not the same as dangerous. Callan limped to Sarah's side. The baby reached for him, and when Callan touched his hand, the glow calmed. The forest went silent. The baby smiled, a mix of human warmth and alien light. One council member finally spoke. We have never seen this, another. He is not just their child. A third, he is a bridge. The elder turned to Valesh. Withdraw your blade, or be judged by the world you failed to understand. Valesh dropped her weapon. The battle was over. Later that night, Callan sat beneath the stars. The baby slept beside him. Sarah rested on his shoulder. He's strong, she whispered. He's only days old, and already stronger than both of us. Callan chuckled. Takes after you. She shook her head. No, he takes after us. He looked at her. I almost died today. I know, she said, but I don't regret it. She took his hand. Neither do I. The ship was ready now. The council had given them passage, not as fugitives, but as family. They would leave the jungle, not to hide, but to begin. A new world, a new name, a new kind of life. And when the ship took off into the stars, the jungle watched and whispered to the wind. They were born in fire, but they rose in love. 5 years later, the planet they once called a death world was now a memory. The child born beneath its trees, beneath fire and fear and love, had grown. Not just taller, not just stronger, but different. He was something neither side could define. And something both sides now needed. His name was Torin. Not fully human, not fully alien, but fully alive. He could speak 3 languages before the age of 4. His skin shimmered with soft light when he was happy. When he cried, nearby machines sometimes activated. Plants leaned toward him, and sometimes even stars blinked in rhythm with his breath. But what made him special was not his glow. It was the way he loved. The way he looked at people with wide, curious eyes. The way he held his parents' hands like they were the whole world. To him, they were. Callan worked as a systems builder now on a neutral world called Ravari Prime. It was a place where species met for trade, peace, and secrets. He had a small home carved into the cliffs with a view of the twin suns. Sarah, once hunted and marked for death, now worked with science leaders, teaching them how bonding energy worked, how it healed, how it could bring life, They never called themselves heroes. They just called themselves a family. But peace never lasts forever. One morning, the skies over Rivari Prime darkened. A message came through the official channels. From the Unified Core, Council. A threat, an ancient weapon had awakened on the edge of the known galaxy. And worse, it responded only to energy signatures like Torrens. That meant one thing. We need the child. Kalen didn't like it. He's not a weapon, he said, arms crossed, eyes sharp. He's just a kid. The council rep nodded. Yes, but he's the only one who can enter the gate without being torn apart. It's keyed to hybrid energy. Sarah sat silently holding Torrens' hand. He listened quietly, then said, I want to help. Callan turned. No, you're too young. I'm strong, Torrens said. I can feel things. I can calm things. Sarah looked at both of them. Let him choose. Kalen stepped back. He was a father, not a general, not anymore. They arrived at the edge of space 3 days later. A black planet floated like a wound in the stars. The weapon, a fortress, forgotten by time, rested at its core. Ancient tech pulsed across its surface. Ships had already tried to land. None returned. Torrens stood at the gate. The machine scanned him, accepted. He turned to his parents. Come with me. Sarah smiled. Always. Callan took her hand, and Torrens too. Together, they stepped through. The inside was alive. Lights glowed softly as they passed. Doors opened before they could knock. Holograms blinked, watching. The weapon was not a machine. It was a judge. It had waited thousands of years for one thing, a being with two energies, a heart split between stars. Torrens stood in the center of the chamber. A voice echoed, Who are you? He answered simply, Torrens, son of Earth, son of Mirai, child of both. And what do you want? I want to protect. The light faded, then returned, brighter than ever. The weapon shut down, forever. Outside, the council watched. The threat was over. But something greater had begun. That night, on a quiet balcony overlooking 2 moons, Callan held a small glass of fruit juice while Torrens sat beside him. You scared me today, Callan said. Torrens smiled. Sorry. You're 5, he said. You shouldn't be disabling galaxy killers. Torrens giggled. Then what should I be doing? Callan ruffled his hair. Climbing trees, making friends. I like saving people more, Torrens said. Callan looked at him, quiet. You're not like me. Torrens shook his head. No, I'm more like us. Sarah joined them, wrapping a warm blanket around her son's shoulders. The stars are quieter tonight, she said. Because of him, Callan replied. Because of all of us, she corrected. They sat in silence, watching the sky. Together. And in the archives of the galaxy, a new entry was added. A story once whispered only in wild forests and burning jungles. Now written in starlight. He had no idea. The injured alien woman he carried that night would become his family and bear his child. But what he gave her was not just life, he gave her a future, and together, they gave the galaxy something it had never seen before. Hope.